All right, it says that we're live. This morning, we're going to go over real quick putting together a listing authorization packet using the contract and forms page of OREC's website. So if that's something that you need to learn, if you're a seller wanting to review what a listing packet may look like, because this video is for entertainment purposes only. It's not for legal or professional advice. So if you want to learn what may already be in the listing packet when you get it from an agent, this video is for you. And if you're an agent needing to learn what goes in a packet, typically this video is for you. But as always, it's not legal advice. It's not professional advice. You got to check with your own attorneys, check with your own brokers, agents. You got to check with your own people. Unless we're working together, this video is not for you. So first things first, let's go over to OREC's website. Uh-oh. Why isn't this? Oh, share screen. Okay, hold on a second. All right, so here we are on OREC's website right here. And then basically the contracts and form page right here. See that right there? We're going to click on it over here in the bottom right, contracts and forms page. Click on it. Okay, and I'm also keeping a timestamp right now too, so I need to record that. Well, I'll do it later. So when you're doing a residential property, you got residential new sale, home construction, vacant lot and land, and you've got the residential property condition disclosures forms. So we'll go ahead and grab the disclosure forms. So you need the disclosure statement form in November 2020. If they've never lived in the home whatsoever, you need the exemption form 11/2006. And then if it's going through a new construction sale or if it's going through a probate, something like that, you'll use the disclaimer form right here. Okay, so we'll just say this is a regular home and we're just going to use the disclosure statement form. So click on that button and it pops up right here. And then you go over here to the download button, top right. Oh, you can't see that because the logo's in the way. Hold on a second. Over here to the top right, you've got the download button. Click download. And then we'll just save this in the desktop. We'll create a new folder. And then we'll just I name the folder typically the address. I name the folder typically the address of the home. 1234 Main Street. And then we'll save it in here. And then we'll just go put 1234 Main Street disclosures. Okay. And then you click back. So we've got the disclosures where we need them. And now we're going to go to the residential sale, new home, construction, vacant lot and land forms. Now we're doing a listing agreement. So scroll down to the disclosure of broker services page because you need to put that in all your contracts. They need the disclosure broker services page. So we'll click on that. And then this is going to be a listing agreement. So you're going to select listing agreement right here. And then you put in the person's name. John Smith and Jane Smith. Okay. Save. We're going to down that. And then this time in front of it, put a number 2. In front of it, put a number 2. Oh, and rename this real quick. Right click it, rename, and put a number 1 in front of it. And that'll keep them in the right order. So over here, this is the disclosures. Number 2, broker disclosures form. So save that right there. Okay. And then let's go back, hit the back button of your browser, and then we're going to go over to the residential. Oh, let's do our net sheet. So I'm scrolling down, estimated net to seller right here, estimated net to seller. So we're going to open that up. And then this is 1, 2, 3, 4, Main Street. And then let's say it's going to close the third day of March, or let's say it's going to close in March. So I put 123 Main Street right here, and I put March right here. And then let's say this is a $1.2 million home. One, two, three. Okay, so 123, 123, 123. And then let's say we're only doing 3 months of taxes because it's closing March 31st. So then right here, 3 months of taxes on a $1 million home. Let's just say it's $5,000. Let's say they have to pay $20,000 a month in taxes. You put your 6% right there. And then why is it this auto-populating? So 6.0 right there. And then open up your handy dandy calculator. Times 0.06, 72,000. And then closing fees, attorney fees, abstracting, it's probably gonna be around $850. I'll be right back. What did you do? What? Had a family emergency. Sorry about that. I'll cut that out in the post. Okay, abstracting around $850. Federal clerk check 150. UCC check 100. Okay. Recording fees $23. Doc stamps is thousandths times the $1.50. So this is 1,200 times 1.5, and you get that thousandths of the sales price. So 1.2 million is 1,200 times 1.5, and that's $1,800 in doc stamps. Buyer pays for the survey. Let's say you have to courier, express mail, anything, so we'll 250 that. And then let's say there's some, you got to pay for a homeowner's letter. If you got to pay for a homeowner's letter, it goes right there. And then let's say they still owe 50% on the house, so we'll put in. Okay, 1 second. I'll be right back. Okay, I think I've got the background noise reducer turned all the way up. We will definitely see. So, let's say you paid the HOA upfront for the year, and you're going to get a credit back for that. So let's say it was a $3,000 HOA, and you're going to get a credit back for that for 2/3 of the year. So you'll get $225 right there, $2,250 right there, and then it's just a simple. Just add the numbers up. Basic arithmetic. So you sold the home for 1.2 million, minus 5,000 in taxes, minus the commissions, minus the title cost, minus your recording fee, minus the doc stamps, minus the courier express, and then minus the HOA letter, and then minus the mortgage, and then add back the credit for the HOA, and the seller's going to be walking away with $521,657. Okay, that's not a bad deal for the seller, especially if that seller was only in the property 20% from the beginning. Let's say they bought it for $900,000 and they were only in it for 20%, $180,000. So if they only put $180,000 in on it, and now they're walking away with $521,000, that's and let's say it was just a 5-year period. Divide by 5. It means they were making about $70,000 a year in appreciation. That's not bad. That's not bad. So be sure to put the company name, and then save this. This time I'm going to click print. This time I'm going to click print because I want to make sure I don't lose any of these numbers. So you're going to hit print. And then it's going to go in right here. And this will actually be number 1. This will actually be number 1. So I put a 0 in front of it. 0 in front of it. Because you always put the net sheet first because sellers want to know the numbers. Sellers want to know the numbers. So that's a $1.2 million estimated net sheet right there. For any price range, you look up the taxes at the county assessor's site. You look up the taxes by the county assessor's, right? And in Oklahoma, we pay them in the arrears. So if it's 6 months, if you sell it in June, you put 6 months here, and then whatever that amount is, whatever the annual taxes are divided by 2 would be 6 months right here. And then of course commissions adjust. Title costs are typically always the same. Abstracting in Oklahoma County is typically only $550, but since it was a more expensive property, $1.2 million, I went ahead and put $850 right there. Dock stamps is 1.5% times the thousands. So if it was only a $600,000 property, it would be 600 times 1.5. So that number would be in half, basically. So, okay, Courier Express mail, that's typically around $250 no matter what. And then HOA association dues / assessment, that's the letter that you got to pay for when you close a house. So, okay, hopefully that makes sense. If not, put questions in the comments below, or of course call, text, or email me. Let's go to the actual listing agreement. So residential sale, new construction home, and then we're going to go down to the actual listing agreement. Okay, listing agreement is located in other related transaction documents and websites. Other related transaction documents and websites is where the listing agreement's at. And this is the listing agreement for 2020, listing agreement for 2020. And we're not doing a lease. We're not doing a lease. So this is a listing agreement for sale. So open it up. And so we just start at the top and start working our way through it. Let me zoom in a little bit. Whoa, that was way too much. My mouse is oversensitive. Okay, that looks good right there. Okay, so listing agreement. So you'll put the address right here. Okay, so there's the address. You put in the legal description. So lot 000, block 000, Happy Days neighborhood. And then we're going to go down here, and this talks about everything that's included with the property, everything that's attached, everything that's included with the property. So even, this is really important right here, if you're listing land, this isn't about a land listing, but if you are, this right here, you want to make sure that you read this sentence to the sellers. It says, including all mineral rights owned by the seller. So keep that in mind if you're listing land. If a seller sells their minerals because they didn't read this listing agreement, this is a legally binding contract. If not understood, seek the advice of an attorney up here. Okay. And right here it says, including all mineral rights owned by the seller. So if you're doing business in Bethany, if you're selling land out in the country, you want to make sure that if they do own mineral rights, you need to find out if they want to reserve them or not. Okay. So this agreement begins on, let's say it begins today, so 2020, and terminates 6 months from now. So let's just say 06/30/20. I already did it. 2021. So 6 months, commissions of 6%. And these commissions are paid to the listing agent. And then the listing agent offers whatever the listing agent offers to the selling broker, typically from this amount that's offered to the listing agent. Okay, seller agrees to pay a commission of 6%. And then if I guess if you want to charge a transaction fee or a staging fee or something like that, it'd go right here. And then it has the word or. So this is completely separate from this sentence because there's a semicolon and it says or. So right here, if it was, I don't know what you put there, but if it's something different than 6%, that's where you put it right there. Okay. And then it talks about upon occurrence of any of the following. So this explains when the brokerage gets paid. And then in the event the contract sale is entered into, buyer seller agrees that, and then it goes into what we're going to continue to do in the listing right here. So go through this with the seller, make sure they understand everything that they're agreeing to do. And then scrolling on down, this is more of what the seller agrees to do once we go under contract. So, and then number 5 goes over the Residential Property Condition Disclosure Act. That was that very first form. Let me grab that real quick. That was that very first form. Desktop. That was that very first form right here, the disclosures, and this goes into detail about it. And then HUD and EPA lead-based paint regulations if the property is built 1978 and thereafter. Clause 6 covers that. Clause 7, it just says that the seller is telling the broker that if everything that they've disclosed to them is true and that they hold the agents and the brokerage harmless from any cost damage due to information that is withheld by the seller from the broker or which is incorrect. And then in connection with this listing agreement, seller authorizes the broker to, these are just kind of some of the steps it takes to sell a property. This is what the seller is authorizing the agent to do. And then number 9, it goes into the broker's duties and responsibilities. That's the same information that is on the broker disclosure form. Same information that's on the broker disclosure form. It's reiterated here in the listing agreement on clause 9. Be sure to go over that with the seller. And then the broker has the duties and responsibilities only to a party for whom, on clause B, to whom the broker is providing broker services in a transaction which are mandatory and may not be abrogated. Man, that is not the right word. Abrogated or waived by the broker. And then these are keeping them informed and keeping them informed. And then C, when working with both parties, the duties and responsibilities set forth in this section shall remain in place for both parties. So in Oklahoma, we are able to work with both parties in a transaction. And then number 10, neither the buyer nor seller may be held liable for actions or words of the broker or licensee affiliated with the broker's firms. So that right there, if they're worried about, well, what if you do something wrong as a broker? Well, clause 10, point that out to the seller, they're covered. Clause 11, use the best efforts to sell the property. And then we're not being charged with custody of the property on number 11. It points that out too. We're not in charge of the maintenance, the repair, or the management of the property. And then it talks about earnest money if a deal goes south. It talks about the term broker. It talks about selling the property without regard to race, color, religion, sex, handicap, familial status, or national origin. Number 15, the seller and the broker agree to these terms. Number 16, acknowledge the seller has read and received a copy of this agreement, and that a copy of the Real Estate Commission Uniform Contract Sale Information Book has been made available to the seller in print or at www.orec.ok.gov. And I'll show you that as soon as we get through with this, because that's the last thing I put in my listing packets. Number 17, it talks about if the broker is a member of the MLS, what all that involves. Number 18, upon execution of an earnest money contract, both buyer and seller have both buyer and seller, broker shall have no duty thereafter to submit subsequent offers for the purchase of the property unless the contract specifically provides otherwise or the sale does not close. So once a house goes under contract, the broker then begins working on closing that contract. They're no longer working on marketing and trying to get more offers. They're working on closing that contract. It talks about working with the broker and getting showings in so people can look at the house. It talks about, lock up all your valuables, get everything out of the house or put them in a safe. The seller assumes all the risk of loss when showing the home. Number 20 talks about response to inquiries. Brokers shall disclose seller's approval, existence of offers. This is good. This is good, especially in today's seller market. This lets the broker let the other agents know, yes, there's an offer on the table. If you're going to submit one, it needs to be a really good one. You need to get that thing going good. And then 21 talks about the typical fees associated with the title company right here. So you put $1,200 right there, typically on clause 21. So put $2,100 right there. And then 20, it authorizes the lockbox. And then, like I said, 19 talks about, number 19 is the lockbox. And number 20 talks about authorizing to disclose of other offers on the property. 22 talks about a residential service warranty. Just go ahead and put no on that one right there. And then if the property is in a flood zone or not, have the seller check one of those. Number 24 is where you put other conditions. And then down here, the rest of 24 is where you fill out the brokerage information. Just wait for Sissy. I'll get you some. Just wait. This is where you put the seller's information, brokerage information right here, up at the top, broker information, seller information right here, seller phone number, the mailing address of the phone of the seller. Over here is the email, all that stuff. And then this is where the agent signs right here. Agent signs right here. And that is how you fill out the listing agreement right there. So we'll go ahead and print this so we don't lose any of the information. Put a number 3 in front of it right there. And then we need one more, and that is the contract information pamphlet. So let's go over here, and these aren't alphabetical. Okay, there it is. Contract booklet. Okay, so inside residential sale, new home construction, vacant lot land. You scroll down, and you're going to see this contract information booklet. It's 24 pages. So go ahead and open that up, and then download it and put it as number 4. Save. And there you go. So now you have all the documents you need to go take a listing right there. And then you just complete all those documents with the seller. So congratulations. Hope you found that helpful. I will trim out the pauses that I had while working from home. Working with the kiddos, I had to take a couple breaks. I'll cut those out. Thank you so much for watching this video. Put questions or comments below that you might have on the video, and put questions or comments below that you have on the video, and I will be excited to get those answered. I'll see you guys on the next clip. Thanks so much for watching.